So awesome. It's happening. Okay. So if you look at it, I'm just going into my page right now. Okay, do you see you? Hey, Melissa. Melissa just commented.
I have no idea. I don't think I could see me, but I get what you're saying. I trust you.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Liz. You're like, Dom's a hot mess, basically. Needed some help setting that up. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to just do a stylizing of the screen. So we can make sure that the way the setup is. Because right now all they can see is you. But there's a way for them to see both of us.
Yeah, I know, because I don't see you. All I see is DA.
Say what?
All I see is your initials in the middle. It says loading presentation. Oh,
maybe my video isn't on. That's why. I'm like, I can't see me.
I think you turned your video off. There you go.
I'm like, where the heck? How's this working? Gotcha. Okay. So now let's see if I refresh this, make sure people can see both of us, because I don't know if they can, because who knows.
So does it go live through livestream.com or no?
So it goes live through Facebook Live. So if you're on my website, if you go to Facebook, The Black Woman's Guide, you're going to see you and me.
Oh, got it. Got it.
And so whenever the person's talking, they become the big screen.
Okay. It's just like Google.
It's just like Google, except with Facebook Live, Facebook Live doesn't allow people to do this just yet. They're rolling it out.
I see.
There's no other tool that lets you broadcast with 2 people or more through Facebook Live right now.
Got it. All right, I see it. It's up.
Perfect. And so I am going to
my timeline. There we go.
Nice. I am going to show this. I'm going to run the live on my phone, not so I can see the chat. I'm going to put on silent, but so I can see the comments come through. I'm assuming this is Melissa who's watching, because I can't see the comments right now. So, see the comments right now. Okay, my phone, I'm going to put on silent. Okay, perfect. So like you can't see this, but you can see my phone. I can see the comments streaming through at the bottom, which will help me just manage it, because I don't know if it's going to show up on the chat. Awesome freaking sauce.
Yay.
So I'm going to do the same thing you're doing. I'm just going to share it a couple places, and then we're going to kick it off.
Go for it. I'm doing the same right now.
So much work went into that one. I could just email Blue Apron, like not Blue Apron, Blue Jeans, like 20 minutes ago.
Food? What?
Right. I just been like, guys, I'm gonna share this in some of my groups. Okay. I'll share in a couple. I'll probably share like in Blavity. Sarah, I have a Black Women Startup Founders group.
Oh, that sounds good.
That I'll share that in. And I will share it in Blavity, which has a lot of people. Hi, Brittany. How are you? Let's see, she's joining in. And I'm in like a couple like Black Women in Tech groups. Okay, that's Women Who Tech. Okay, cool. All right, posting a few. We'll let people come through as they come through. And I'll get up my question list and we'll kick it off. Thank you so much for being patient.
Whatever. I'll move that.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Awesome. So and I can see it on the side. So I'm going to close my screen up here. And we'll kick it off. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm all ready.
Okay, awesome. Let me turn the sound up a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to look at the right camera. I'm looking at 5 cameras right now. Hold on. My fucking mind is like, I can't even see straight. It's like too much. I'm going to get off Facebook for a second. Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. So here we go. Hi, everyone. This is Dominique Aubrey, and welcome to our 3rd episode of the Black Women's Guide show. And today I am super, super, super excited to have on the show Liz Brown, the co-founder of WebJunto, a web design agency in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I know a lot of you guys are from Philly, so shout out to Philly and shout out to all the Black women business owners in the city doing big things. And I'm super pumped because actually Liz has a really interesting story to tell. And I really wanted to bring her on because her background is actually in urban planning, and she has moved into kind of the startup world in web design. And I think the story that you have, people can really relate to, in the sense that you kind of, we're going to talk through, like, you kind of went through a transition in your life to kind of where you are today. And I think for a lot of Black women, yeah, we'll call it that for now. A lot of women, I think, will resonate with that story. So that's how we're gonna kick it off, and we're gonna start with that story. So you put up a Twitter post the other day on, and I'll include your Twitter handle here, at Liz Says, which is super cute. That was like, 3 years ago I was looking for a job, and now it's been 3 years and I've hired 7 staff at WebJunto, and it was a picture of Drake dancing. It was like a meme of Drake dancing. And I was like, that's hilarious. And if I was savvy, I'd show the screen, but I'm not, so we're not going to do that right now. But I'll put a link to that. It's hilarious. So I'd love for you to share with folks. Oh, I'm looking for my list of questions here. What was that transition? Like, we'll start from the beginning, now before you even became a co-founder, but like, what happened in that moment that led you to connecting with Jedi, your co-founder, on WebJunto?
Magic. I had finished my master's in planning, and then I was working for the city of Philadelphia, and I got furloughed literally in the middle of doing a second master's, trying to plan programs for West Philly. I wanted to do like technology programs for West Philly, and I had already been like doing development since I was like 15 years old, but I never really considered it a possible job. I always thought of it as something for fun, and I never really thought of it as something I could do every day. And so for years I freelanced. I even freelanced to pay for my urban planning degree. So like I had a graduate assistantship working for International Education, and I used to update their website. I used to design all kinds of stuff for the University at Buffalo. And I still, like, it paid for my tuition, and I never thought like, oh, wow, I really like this. I could do this every day. I always thought like, oh, I'm doing this until I graduate. And then when I got furloughed from my job, I had really picked up a lot of freelancing gigs, like more than I had normally done. Sure. And like a week after doing my thesis presentation, I actually met Jedi at a meetup at Impact Hub, and he was sitting in front of me. It was a Code for Philly / Girl Develop It intro to civic hacking. And my dad had been pushing me. Yeah, my dad had been pushing me to go out to events and just meet people, because I didn't really know anyone since I moved to Philly. I moved here because my fiance got into dental school here, and I was just kind of here working. And we never really planned on being here. Like, I never planned on starting a business and employing all these people. And in meeting Jedi or any of it. I met Jedi. He was sitting in front of me, and we started going to civic hackathons together for like over the course of like 4 months. And I had gone
Oh,
to all
sure.
these interviews, and I just couldn't find a job. Like even with 2 master's degrees, people wouldn't hire me. And
Mm.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a big part of why I didn't get hired is because I'm a woman of color,
Hmm.
and it was very frustrating.
Hmm.
I was depressed for a while.
No, that's real shit. I mean, I think it's funny. I will
Like,
say that on the dad advice, my dad did the same thing. When I came out of school, he was like, "Get out there," and that's actually how I ended up working for the mayor in Philadelphia. It's my first like real job when I graduated from grad school because I volunteered for Mayor Netter's campaign. My dad was like, "Do something, go meet some people," and that's exactly what I did. So big up to the dads right now because that was some good
no
dad
way.
advice. So I think, yeah, I think that's like a really important story because a lot of people, particularly Black women, are so overly educated and overly skilled, right? And they're not getting the jobs that they want, and they're looking into entrepreneurship as a possible solution to not even just creating freedom and doing what you love, but just to creating stability, financial stability, and just cash, like just make sure they can live because they're just not getting employed. So, what you're sharing here, oh, your friend Matt's on here. So I'm reading his, I don't know if you can see his comments, Liz, but they're really, you can always comment. Feel free to people to put questions below. I'm new to doing two at once, so put the questions in. I'm going to try and look at it and make sure I ask Liz questions if you have them for us. So please do. Um,
No,
but so
I
I
don't
think
think
you're spot on. But tell me a little bit about your relationship with Jedi because a lot of the women I talk to work alone,
yeah, I
and
did
they
for
have
a
a.
while.
Oh, you did? Okay, so they had a hard time. Not, I don't say releasing control, but just like building a trusting relationship. It's a really hard for a lot of folks. It makes them really nervous. So, how did you build a relationship with Jedi? Your co-founder that you really was a stranger that you just met.
Oh man, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that me and Jedi are not from Philadelphia.
Mm.
So I grew up in upstate New York in the Hudson Valley in Kingston, New York.
Mhm.
Um, and it's literally like down the road from Woodstock, New York, and like SUNY New Paltz. And anyone who's familiar with those two things, or even Bard, will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like just a different kind of, like you meet someone there, and if you tell someone that you want to have coffee with them, like you really will have coffee with them.
Mm.
Whereas I had been meeting all these people in Philly and like trying to make friends, and I'm just like not a city person. So I
Mm.
had this like huge struggle because I'm super friendly. Like everyone makes
Yeah.
fun of me. All of my friends I grew up with, they always say like, "Oh, you just have a nice face. Like everybody wants to talk to you," because
Yeah.
strangers talk to me everywhere. And I feel like me and Jedi are just kind of the same. So like before I
Hmm.
met Jedi, I worked with 3 other startups in Philly,
Oh.
and all of them never went through.
Mm.
And it was just like people didn't. The biggest thing was that people don't want to sign agreements.
Yeah.
Like people say that they want to share their business, but they don't want to sign agreements. And so like it just kind of is this like struggle of like trying to get to know you, trying to trust you. And when I met Jedi, because he's also from the middle of nowhere, PA, like
Mm-hmm.
he grew up on a farm, like me and Jedi just connected instantly.
Gotcha.
And from the moment I met him, he invited me to go to like he invited me to go like hang out with him sometime, and I thought it
Mm.
was BS. I was like, oh, he's just like everybody else. And then a couple days later, he like texted me or called me, and he invited me to a hackathon for Philly Give Camp at Microsoft. And
Mm.
I was like, well, I don't have a car or anything, like it's really far. Like I don't know if I can get there. He was like, I'll take you. And not only did he offer to take me, but he offered to take another woman who he also met at the same meetup. So he picked
Nice.
both of us up, and he drove us out to this event with him. Like didn't even really know us, and like literally weeks later, he asked me to co-organize a hackathon here at Impact Hub. It was like a 24-hour hackathon, and we did that together. And then so like I literally spent 24 hours with this man, like like a few weeks after meeting him. So a
Stranger that
lot
I
of
just
that,
met.
yeah, a lot of doing the hackathons with him is really how we grew to know each other. And then he
Mm.
invited me, just really randomly invited me to go with him to Duke University to a hackathon down there, and like to drive me down there and share
Mm.
Airbnb with me. And I was crazy enough to go. And I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have been crazy enough to do that. And that's
Mm.
really where our friendship grew, was, like over these 20 24 or 48-hour hackathons and then that road trip like really solidified our friendship. Like we weren't afraid to like just to talk to each other, and we both got ripped off. Yeah, like we
both got ripped off.
We both got ripped off by other people. Like the other business that he worked for before he had problems with other founders as well, and it just like was a perfect match. Like I'm telling you, it was magic.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. Like when you meet someone of similar like kind, you know what I mean? Like it's really like you feel it and you're like, oh, we have something in common. And that's a way to start building a relationship. But even with that, like you said, like it was a slow build. It wasn't because a lot of times people kind of go in like, I want to start a business today. So I'm looking for a co-founder right now who's gonna do everything I want them to do. But that's
my issue. Yeah, that was my issue with the other people, was that I met them off of Craigslist. And they were great people. I'm still friends with them. Like I see them around, but it just wasn't going to work because they put it on Craigslist. They didn't trust anybody. They weren't willing to open up. And the other thing too, though, that I don't know if you're going to ask me about it, but I definitely want to touch on this. Having a male co-founder has made all the difference. You know, like being a woman of color and having a male co-founder, I had problems when I was freelancing. Like I had major problems. Like I had some male clients that would speak really, really, they would speak down to me. They would speak to me in very insulting ways. And even when I tried to stand up and be like, you have to sign this contract, people gave me problems. With Jedi, I haven't had any problems since having a co-founder with like getting someone to sign a contract. No one has ever questioned our contract. Like,
gotcha.
It's crazy.
And that's actually really interesting feedback. I mean, I think because so many women, like I said, they're just building it on their own. They're doing it on their own. And, you know, they're hitting a lot of this kind of implicit bias, right, that's happening to them. And they don't really know why. They think it's them that I'm not closing this deal. But in actuality, it's like, you know, you're a brown face, not even in a white face, just a brown face in a place that no one expects you to be. And so it's more just like surprise. And the trust factor isn't there, right? Because they don't really know where you're coming from, you know. So that's really interesting, actually. You know, I think for people looking for, I also like that you guys have a male female pair because it also manages a stylistic thing. Because when people come into agencies nowadays, they want to feel like the people in there represent them and their community, and so there's something about having that diverse, you know, just my perspective that adds value to the work that you guys do.
Yeah. Yeah. It really makes a big difference.
Yeah. That's a good note. I wouldn't have thought about that. So, just a side note, if we could have mentioned Impact Hub for those of you guys who do or don't know, I used to run a co-working space in Philadelphia called Impact Hub. And that's what Liz is referencing. So she met Jedi before I was there. So that's the way you're saying it is like with an inflection. I'm like, no one knows what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just it was a cool co-working space, and hopefully they revive it as well. So I want to go to the next question. So talk to me a little bit, so you went from, I mean, now that you said you kind of doing development work, this might not be as far of a stretch, but you went from being an urban planner to being head of design at a startup. And so like, what was that learning curve like? Was it an obvious fit? Was it comfortable? Was it easy? Or was it actually like you had to adjust your style or your way of work?
Actually, I am constantly telling people this, like from urban planning to user experience design is actually not that tough, because when you're working as a community, like I was working in community development, and my specialty was revitalization of neighborhoods. So I would go to community meetings, and I would do in urban planning, we call it assurettes. It's basically just co-creation and co-design with residents. And so we do the same thing here at WebJunto, and that's basically what my core responsibility here is, doing discovery meetings, which is the same as a neighborhood charrette.
Yeah.
I'm doing exercises with teams, and I bring in designers and developers. And the other side of it is, because I've been doing development for so many years, like over 15 years now, just as like a hobby, it feels more natural to me. Like even for urban planning, I wanted to insert tech into my work in urban planning. So surprisingly, it's really similar. There's issues of accessibility in neighborhoods. There's issues of accessibility in websites and mobile apps.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I mean, I think to your point, like you had a hobby, and people, there's always like this misnomer of like just do what you love, but it's sometimes people are like, well, I don't know what I'm good at, but it's actually like, what do you spend your time doing, right? Like, because I thought something. I used to do a lot of volunteering. I used to run a lot of alumni boards, and then I just became an alumni. I did so much management of boards. I became an alumni consultant. Just like, oh, I'm going to teach this now to everyone else, and so it's like I just love doing it, and it was a hobby for so long, right? So I think that's like a really important point for people who are starting out. Um, yes, it can be a passion, but sometimes it's a little less obvious than that. It's just like, oh, I do
Yeah,
this thing
it
naturally,
can be a
but I like to do
struggle. Yeah, I've been asking our apprentices, like we have design apprentices, and I've been asking them, just to focus on the stuff they don't normally focus on. Like really look at, what do you do when you get home from work? What is the
it.
first thing you do? What do you like to do on the weekends? Like
Yeah.
what brings you so much joy? My whole life, I've always done art projects and design projects. I used to design parade floats in the summers at a summer camp I worked at, and I won awards for it every year. And I never really thought, oh, I could be a designer. It just
Mhm.
kind of blows my mind. I used to take apart things. I used to make websites, and I never thought I could do it as a day to day. And I think a lot of things are like right there in your face, but people don't notice them.
Yeah. No, that's spot on. That's 100%. I want to talk. You talked a little bit about the work you did at urban planning, and I want to talk about the meetups that you run because we're going to talk a little bit more about community development later. But so many of the Black women, when I ask them, what they care about, it's really community building, and the business is a way for them to impact the community. So talk to me about you have two different meetups. So let's start with Junto and like how that's evolved, and not just how that's evolved and why it's meaningful, but like how has it impacted your business and what your business does? Are they related?
So, are they related is the key. Um, when we first started the business, they were related, but not obviously. Um, so when we first started the business, we decided to name it Web Junto because we were like, oh, well, we develop stuff for the web and we love giving back to the community. We're civic hackers. Ben Franklin's
Gotcha.
Junto was awesome and it's
Right.
about mutual improvement. That's what we care about. So let's start a meetup as soon as we start the company.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not promote Web Junto at the Junto.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole first couple of years of doing the Junto, we made the biggest mistake of not representing the business at the Junto.
Right. Yeah.
Um, we actually had a consultant work with us, which if you're from Philly, some people will know him, Matthew Grande, who I also met when I was working out of Impact Hub's co-working space.
I love Matt.
And yeah, and he gave us a lot of advice. And he asked us like, why don't you want to represent Web Junto at the Junto? People need to know that it's your event. So we started using this banner that's right behind me. We started to kind of pull that out at our events. But the Junto event, the whole point of it was that we wanted to have an event for mutual improvement to educate people in the community on ways to avoid getting ripped off by development and design companies,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so easy for startups to go talk to someone and then say, oh, it's going to be $300,000.
Right.
We had someone call us like a week ago saying that the other company that they just talked to quoted them at $125,000 just to get started. We were like, what? Like for what? For what are you going to pay
Wow.
125K? So the whole idea of the Junto was me and Jedi being so annoyed with the dishonesty that exists in in this world, and we just wanted to have an event that was all about, you show up, you say who you are, you say like what you're looking to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you tell people what your latest greatest challenges are,
Mm-hmm.
and they just give you roundtable advice just from
Yep.
everyday regular people like
Mm-hmm.
you. There's a lot of startup founders, nonprofit organizations that come. Literally everybody. We had somebody come that wanted to be a barista, and he left the event saying like, oh, I'm ready to get started with it. And it's
Nice.
crazy. Like we get students that come looking for jobs, and people connect
That's
them.
fun.
That's the whole goal, is to connect people.
That's awesome. So that's been going for 3 years, and so now
Yeah.
you are talking about your business. as a platform. I mean, you're still, the goal's still there, but you also now have another meetup, which
Yep.
seems to be more business aligned, called is it Ionic? Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so tell people what is that? I mean, I saw it was like a philosophy. It's a platform for app building, but like, what is that group supposed to do? And again, how does it relate to your business?
So Ionic framework is it's a way to make applications using web technologies, like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
But the way we got into using Ionic is a funny story because Jedi's background is in software engineering and computer science. Mm-hmm. My background is in information design and planning. Mm-hmm. So because I had front-end development experience, there was a lot of stuff I wasn't able to do with him when we first started the business. Like I would have to sit with him and pair program, which for those of you who don't know, it's when two developers sit next to each other and kind of talk through the process and work together through problems and code. So I would have to tell him like, move this line up here, a couple more pixels this way, da da da. And I couldn't help him because he wasn't using HTML and CSS. So like I didn't even know how to use that language. When then we found out about Ionic framework and we were like, oh wow, this is like so cool. It was like a major enabler for me. And we built our team around web technologies, which was way more affordable as a startup than just finding people who make iOS apps like and Android apps. Like that would have been super expensive to find people who code in like Swift. So we just found people who knew HTML, CSS, and Angular JavaScript, and we kind of just like built this partnership with Ionic. We became one of their first global partners. They had like 6 global partners.
Wow.
And they're a new company too. Like they're coming up and they raised millions of dollars. So just when they became partners with us, because we hit them up and we were like, hey, we love your products and like your services, you know, like, is there any way that we could be a partner with you? And they were like, hey, we have this partnership program we're coming out with. So we partnered with them. Long story short, the Ionic meetup became a thing because we want to build a community around the technologies that we're working with and the frameworks that we're working with. And we were like, hey, you know what would be a great funnel for finding Ionic developers? Being the only official Ionic meetup in Philadelphia. So everything that we do is very strategic. Like the Philadelphia like Junto was also super strategic, but it even though it wasn't meant to be a direct funnel into our business, it was meant to get the word out about who me and Jedi are, because we're not from Philadelphia, right? He was here at Drexel for school, and I've been here working, but like I didn't know anyone in the tech community. And the Philly Junto was really all about just getting our faces out and saying, hey, like we're people just like you. We're really big on transparency. Like come talk to us. We're here to help.
Yep. Gotcha. No, that's awesome. And I love that you said like there was a strategy there, because a lot of the struggles people have is around like, I have all these different ideas and they're just all these different places. Like I want to do a nonprofit. I want to have this organization and I want to have this business, and they're not connected. Right. And so you guys have done a great job of connecting the community work with the business work. And so it becomes like this one engine that you guys move forward versus like disparate parts where you're like, I'm just running all over the place trying to do all this stuff. It's not like creating the impact that I actually want to see.
And that's where we were. I mean, that is where we started it. But it always had a strategy. We just didn't have it all tied down the way that we do now.
Oh, gotcha. Well, just fine. I mean, you guys are 3 years in, which is phenomenal. Like what you guys have done in 3 years is like pretty much, I can't curse on the show. I already did, but I can't say bigger curses. It's pretty amazing. You know what I mean? So I think I think there's a lot of strategy that, you look back and you go, oh, that was really thoughtful, right? But like at the time, you're like, it's a cluster and I'm just trying to get through.
Yeah. People think that everything's together, but it never is.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. It's only after it looks really pretty. So you've done a lot. So recently you've been doing a lot more, and I'm going to put the links in because I've seen your speaking and different things like that. And so I want to talk about thought leadership a little bit, because you're moving into the space now where you are speaking and you are talking about issues that you care about, and you're combining technology and community together. So how do you see thought leadership? And is it part of your role in the company? Like, is Jedi also going and speaking? Is it really like, how are you guys doing that? And how do you see it as part of your brand?
So it's interesting because the different, like the different sides of the community see different things, right? So for the past couple of years, Jedi's been at the forefront of thought leadership for WebJunto. Because for me, I've always been that person that kind of just runs everything at the office and just like super organized, make sure everything's going okay so that Jedi can get out and get the word out about what we're doing and everything else. Now, it's like since last year, we've been in this like slow shift where I've also been kind of ramping up to pull myself out of client work. So me and Jedi no longer do client work. Like he doesn't do development. I don't do design. We lead those teams. And so we have more time to go out and talk at these events. So since last spring, I've been kind of just going out and doing whatever speaking engagement, whatever workshop, whatever thing like this that I can do, just to kind of build that awareness that hey, I exist. I am the other co-founder. And it was actually something that was brought up to me by someone on our team. Courtney Christian, she's also black woman developer, awesome, kick ass. She was our first employee, and she always said to me how important it was to her to have me go out and be at the forefront of what WebJunto is doing and not just Jedi. So she really was a driving force to kind of get me to hurry up and start doing this stuff more often. It's just that I didn't have time and I didn't really think about how important it was to the other women on my team to see me out and about and doing these things. And the women in tech community, they all know me. They don't all know Jedi. Just like the tech community, they all know Jedi. The women in tech know me, but not all the guys in tech in Philly know me.
Right.
Right.
A little bit of a mixed blend. Oh, I'm looking at all the love being sent here on the Facebook feed. This is really sweet, actually. So keep them coming. Send the good love to Liz, please.
Yeah, send us love. Send us love.
Yeah, for sure. This is beautiful. And so you actually did a talk, and I don't know where it was, but you were talking about a book called Influence, Science and Practice. So it's like talking about that. So like, why did you, like, what about that inspired you to talk about it? What are you reading right now that's inspiring you in your work?
Oh man. I missed the end of that. I got so excited about hearing the book's name.
I was gonna say the first one was, so why did you pick that book to talk about it?
Okay.
So I'll just leave with that question. So why did you pick that book for your speech?
The reason I picked that book is because it was one of my favorite books from college. I had to read it in undergrad. I had to read it in grad school. And my brother, it was funny because I've always kept this book. I keep all these books right here. Actually, a lot of them are my books from undergrad and grad school, like my favorite books. But I've always kept that book, and I've always told everybody about the tactics in it, and it's helped me to grow my business. Like a lot of the tactics in that book have helped me in Jedi, and I've always just trained Jedi up. So a lot of people don't know my undergraduate degree is from University at Buffalo, and it's in communication, which is not the same as like what communications degrees are. University at Buffalo is a research institute, so we study like the psychology behind communication.
Gotcha.
And that book was like, it basically encompasses a lot of what I learned throughout my undergrad, and then what I focused on when I went to grad school for the second master's. So that's why I picked that book, because I know those things very well. It's really my favorite area. It's what brought me into user experience. That book really taught me a ton about business. I recommend it to anyone who has a business to read that book if you're doing sales and marketing.
Okay, good to know. And so, what are you reading now?
Oh man, right now, let's see.
You're like now, everything. A little bit of everything.
I just got, one of my clients sent me this book, Hooked, but I haven't started it yet. I hear it's really good, but I haven't started it yet. And oh man, let's see. I also bought this book, 3-Box Solution, but I haven't read it yet. I've mostly been listening to audiobooks on Audible. Like I've been cheating a little bit the past couple of months,
Hmm.
I discovered Audible, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can finish a book like just while I'm driving back and forth to work.
Yeah,
Um, so
it
I
helps.
can't, I don't have to remember the name of the one that I just finished, but it's a really good book. I'll share it on the Facebook page. There's just too many to keep track with.
Well, I always ask people, do you, how much do you read? Do you read like a book? Are you like a book a week girl? Are you a book a month girl? I know everyone wants to be the book a week person, but it's hard.
Yeah, I would love to be a book a week person, but like I have now the team is at 11 people, and my life is setting up Confluence. And I don't know if people are familiar with Confluence, but it's a tool that's in like the Atlassian suite that works with Jira and like project management. And like my life's goal has been to set up a knowledge base in there. And
Nice.
I've been trying to listen to ebooks, but I've been probably doing like a book a month right now,
Okay.
if not two.
Okay, that's awesome. I've been telling,
Yeah.
most women can't, do a book a week, and most women can't invest in like larger courses and things like that. But I always tell people, what you can do is you can get a book, whether it's free at the library or an audio book or whatever. You can spend the $10. I don't, 99% of the population, even in the situations we're in, can probably get a book a month.
The library is
And
great.
yeah, library's great, and
Library
nowadays
is
so much of it
everything.
is digital that you can access it
Oh
as
yeah.
audiobooks, even if it's so. It's like 12, what would 12 books a year? How would that change your life, right? Like no one thinks about that, but it's a huge impact.
Oh, it's a big deal. I actually read. I do read a lot though. I don't have time to read a whole book. I start a lot of these books have like a bookmark like halfway through,
Yeah,
but I read articles every morning. You'll see me on Twitter. Like for anyone who follows me on Twitter, I the first thing I do when I wake up is I go on Twitter and I start reading articles. And I really, for the most part, I only post articles that I've read. So
gotcha.
like I read a ton of articles every day.
Yeah, and that's at Liz says, right?
Liz
Liz says.
Brown says.
Liz
Yep,
Brown
at
says.
Liz
And
Brown
I'll put
says.
that. I don't use Twitter that much. I know, I know, I know. So I will include that because I know we have Twitter people. Obviously, everyone uses Twitter. That's why they call it Black Twitter, but I'm not really on it. So I will make sure to put that in there for everyone. So a
Yeah,
couple more last closing questions.
go
Um,
for it.
what still surprises you about your business, and how do you handle those surprises?
Oh man, there's like this one moment that like really touched me in Jedi. Like literally, Jedi's gonna kill me for this, but like almost brought him to tears. I think he had a tear in his eye, and like I almost did too. Like a couple of months back when we lost two people on our team,
Mhm.
like it was our lead software engineer. He found a job closer to New York. He had been commuting all the way from New York, which was crazy. And then one of our other engineers, he got offered to be a CEO at his friend's company, and we were so happy for both of them to find stuff that they wanted to do, and like they're really psyched about startups, and we're starting to roll into being just like a regular business. So I guess it gets a little less exciting. But
Yeah.
one thing that really touches us is, we had this on conference because we had all these new people on the team at the time. We had like 5 apprentices. So we had like 15 people at the time. And we did this on conference. And we just did all of these like crazy exercises. And at the end, I did this exercise called Why Web Junto. And I gave them a few different things to do, like to write a tweet, to write a limerick, to write a rap song, to write a what was it a personals ad.
Yeah.
And at the end of like an hour, like me and Jedi left the room. We didn't want to be a part of it. At the end of that hour, we came back and we did presentations.
Hmm.
And the presentations, in one of the presentations was a damn, like, they shocked everybody. They wrote a limerick, a poem. They read the poem, and at the end of the poem, they had a damn rap that no one knew.
Oh,
No one was prepared for them to rap. And I have this video, and I think it's on my YouTube, and I share that too. But when they did that rap, and it was just kind of one of those moments where it was like, yo, these people love working for us this much that they'd write a rap song about it. Like,
right.
everyone's energy was so hype and so crazy. And when we looked at the sticky notes at the end of that exercise, like I have them sitting at my desk right in front of where I sit every day, just to remind me of that moment. Almost all of them put things like they love WebJunto because it's diverse, because they feel like they have a say in what they do, because they feel like we give them opportunities for personal growth. We believe in them. And so many of the things that people say are so strongly attached to a lot of the things that I was depressed about. Like I couldn't find a job. I couldn't find a place where I could leave my hair curly if I wanted to. I couldn't find a place where I could wear. I'm wearing sweatpants right now at the office. I don't have any shoes on, and I can just kind of chill here. Like this is WebJunto is like home. And when I hear everybody on the team say that WebJunto is their family, it's just like it's so crazy because I went from not being able to find a job to being able to create my dream company, my dream job, my dream life, my dream family here at WebJunto. And like every moment of that, it still surprises me every morning when I get here and I see the doors and I see my sign. Me and Jedi have moments where we just look at each other. It's like, can you believe that just 2.5 years ago, we were sharing a monitor at a co-working space and pretending that other people's monitors were a part of ours so that we looked like a bigger company. And now we have 2 offices and 11 employees. Like it's insane. That's the stuff that drives me like wild, and like I'm excited about it every day. It still surprises me. Every morning when I walk to the doors and I see that, I'm like still in awe.
You just made me now want to ask that question to every other person I interview because like that answer was like awesome. That was like an incredible answer to that question. That's beautiful. That really is beautiful. And that's what probably everyone really aspires to, right? So like it's awesome that, I mean, you guys are only 3 years in, you know, and it's going to go gangbusters from here, but like that you can experience that. I think people think it takes a lifetime to get there, right? And what you just shared is it doesn't take as long as you think, right? Which I think
doesn't.
That's awesome. So obviously my transitions aren't for this, but either way.
What you got to do? I'm here with you.
Yeah, as we go through this. What habit do you credit for having the most impact on who you are today, or the life you have today? What discipline do you think that you do, whether it's naturally you don't notice it or you purposely do it?
I actually think, I don't want to say this the wrong way. My mom would kill me if I say this. When I was a kid, my mom used to always say I was like a mess, right? Like I used to always be called like a daydreamer, like all through school. I always had on my report cards that I was a daydreamer. But I actually think that the habits I had as a child were looked at the wrong way. Like right now, like just the same way that my room was a mess with like just random stuff that I collected, mostly because I liked a lot of different stuff. Like I used to skateboard, I used to do like freestyle bike, I used to rollerblade, I used to go hiking, I used to do all kinds of stuff that like it was just a lot. I had a lot of junk in my room.
No.
Here, I have the same thing, but I have literally like sticky notes everywhere, right? Like I'm an organized mess. Like I always know where everything is. And being a designer, like you kind of have to get used to like the clutter of sticky notes being all over the place. And then the fact that I was always seen as a daydreamer, like I get paid to daydream. I get paid to come up with ideas for people. Like no one ever told me that I could get paid to write on a whiteboard and write on sticky notes and shower my room in sticky notes and ideas. Yeah. And now I get to do the very things that people used to complain about that used to be seen as a bad habit.
That's awesome. So that's really awesome. And I think, like you said, like that's a great example of sometimes it's like we're just in the wrong space, or it's just like looked at from the wrong light. And so we diminish all these things that are really awesome about us. And when we end up kind of coming into our own, we find that those things that we thought were so horrible were actually the best parts of us, right? They were like so uniquely us and how we operate, right? And so it's like in so many jobs, particularly if you're working in a regular job and you're listening to this, you probably have to kind of fit yourself into a mold, or a model and a way of work, right?
Yeah, I
And just
recently did a startup weekend, and the people on the team, the other people on the team with me, like they work office jobs, they work all kind of different jobs. But one of the things that they said to me after I did some of the exercises that I do here at the office with them,
Mhm.
they were like, I didn't know people did this. Like, I didn't know this was a thing that is a job. And I was just like, well, it's just being a part of like the creative workforce. And
Right.
I feel like a lot of people don't know that,
Yeah.
the fun that there is in being a designer, being a creative
Right.
thinker, and a lot of people don't know how to turn it into money.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
that's the biggest issue, is that they don't know how to turn their creativity into something that works for them.
Yeah. No, that's that for sure. And that's because it's like we're creating a lot of new jobs right now. Like we're in a space in the world where like new things are also being created, new industries are being created real time, and we're adapting real time. So I think yeah, but definitely the whole you know lean or just the customer discovery process, the design thinking, like all those parts of the kind of that research experience, right? That's like new stuff, and it's like slowly leaking into other industries. But yeah, no, I think it surprises me as well in even the space that I'm like, you've never done this, you don't know that. So I think you don't know till you know, right? Like you don't know till you see the other side of it. And so you're exposing people to that, like, oh, it's possible. It's
Yeah.
possible.
The
You
crazy
know,
thing is, it's not that new. It's not as new as it seems. What's new is the appreciation for it,
that's true.
right?
Because lean's
Like,
been around since like 1920. Like, right, the design
it's
thinking approach has been around for a long time.
it's been around forever. Like, urban planners for years have been using some of the methods that I use every day to plan cities and plan like all kinds of crazy things. But like, no one really thought of things in a fun way until they started saying things like design thinking and
Right.
co-creation and like all of these new buzzwords like user experience. They
Right.
sound really cool, but like human computer interaction, like research on that has existed for a long time. Research on human beings like it's kind of crazy how like coming up with buzzwords can can change an entire industry, and also
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah.
I think it's technology. It's so much more important now to
Yeah.
to have good designers for everything.
The customer experience. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like grass-fed beef with some glitter on it, you know? It's like, it's exactly what millennials want, you know what I mean? It's like that whole idea of it being hip and cool and neon and bright and, dynamic and empathetic and right, all these kind of things that we value as that, whether you're millennial or you're whatever, Gen Z, or you're a 30 something and you're in between whatever the heck's going on, like we all kind of feel that need to create connective tissue and value each other's opinions, right? And that's showing up in the work for sure. So I have a last question. So I don't know if I'm gonna call these like hot seat questions moving on. I don't know how hot a seat question this is. We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
If you had to start your business all over today, what is the one thing you would take advantage of in today's business ecosystem to build your business? It could be a tool, an approach, a system, a method. What's the one thing you would take advantage of?
I would take advantage of everything that I've learned up until now. Like little things that, like, there are people who have the answers,
Mhm.
and we
Sure.
you don't have to wait until you figure it out. So
Yeah.
I make it my business now to go out and tell other women in tech and other women in business and other minorities everything that I've learned. Like, people think I'm crazy. Like if I meet someone and they're like, "Do you want to have coffee?" Like, I will have coffee with anybody that seems like a non-crazy person and ask me to have a coffee date with them. Really,
Okay.
hit me up. I'll have coffee with you. And
You heard
I
it
will
here
tell
first, guys.
you, I will load you up with information. Like, I will literally tell you anything you ask me. Like, I'll give you like the honest truth, and I'll tell you how we got to where we are. But I feel like if I had to target like an actual like specific thing, it would be what
Mhm.
we did with the Junto, right? Like,
Mhm.
not taking credit for the Junto through Web Junto, but making myself more visible. Because like I said,
Mhm.
like Jedi's been at the forefront of everything that we've done outward until now. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like having a woman owned business is a big deal to a lot of people. So
Mm-hmm.
me going out and talking at these events, it generates a lot of interest. And I
Mm-hmm.
think any business owner should get comfortable, figure out how to get comfortable, at the very least, like running workshops or doing things like this.
Gotcha. Awesome. Awesome sauce. Thank you very much. Those are all the questions I had. Is there any final words or things that you want to share or say?
Um, you can do it. Like, starting a business is not the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Maintaining the business is one of the hardest things I've ever done, but starting a business is not difficult. And I feel like women should not be afraid to take risks. Like,
Mhm.
if there's anything that Jedi has taught me, it is to take more risks. Um, what's the worst thing that can happen? You really have nothing to lose when your business is new. Like, you really have nothing to lose. So just do whatever. Just try all kinds of things and don't be afraid to do it. I mean, like, we just tried a webinar for the first time a few weeks ago, and like, it didn't go so bad. It didn't go perfect, but it didn't go so bad. And it was that's just the kind of risk that we take.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Liz Brown, the co-founder of WebJunto, a web and design agency in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I will put all the links for her Twitter. I will put the links for her talk. I'll put the links for WebJunto's website. So you have all the information that you need. And thank you so much for watching this episode of the Black Woman's Guide.
Yay. Thanks for having me.
Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna I'm hoping. Oh shit! So it didn't record on Blue Jeans, but it recorded on Facebook. Like, oh shit!
That's too
And I'm
funny.
looking at it the whole time thinking it's on because I'm like, oh, it says record off. Well, fuck that. But it's okay because it's on live, so people are all
Oh
watching
yeah.
all day. You got
Yeah, it stays
so
on
many
there.
hearts, so many nice,
Oh,
perfect. So what
so
I'm gonna
like
do
if
is
I watch, so when I rewatch it, it'll play with all the hearts and things. I know that.
everything. Yep. And what I'm going to do just right now to be safe, because I don't want it to get lost, is there's a tool you can use where you can actually take the link and you can drop it into this tool, and it will download it and make it into a video file for you.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'll do that just right now. That way, just in case this shit is fucked up, that I'm able to keep it. So I'll do that right now. Cool. So it probably take about like 2 or 3 days. So you'll probably be in Vietnam, but I will send it out with like the
Yeah, I'll be
poly cover.
online.
Okay. And I'll just send it to you that way. And that would be awesome. Thank you so much. This was like the best first interview.
The best
I'm,
first interview.
it really, really was. Like it really was. Like I said, I'm just starting this, and so
Hey, anytime.
I,
I highly recommend talking to Courtney too at some point. Like,
oh sure, yeah, of course.
Courtney, I don't know if you ever met
The
Courtney,
hair,
but
yeah, the
like,
hair. Well, she has the
I
hair
think you
business. I
met
don't know if she
Courtney
still has it.
before.
Yeah, does she have the
Yeah,
hair business still?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if she's doing that meetup anymore. I'm not sure. But
Okay.
we're about to start a whole new initiative at WebJunto called Wow Women of WebJunto. And
I
we're going to
saw
start
that like
partnering.
group on your page.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's coming soon. It's just going to be us partnering with other women in tech and
Hmm.
hosting brunches at our office. Like, we want to have little
Awesome.
brunches where we just invite a bunch of women to really just come and hang out and talk.
Awesome. No, I do. I do like a Black Women's Guide like roundtable like once a month. I'm in Boston now. But yeah, no, your story really resonated with me because I'm not from Philly, obviously, and I living there 3 different times. I felt like I never found my tribe. And so I think the
Yeah.
third time I was there was the most painful because I just felt like it's not a fit, like it's not my home. And so that was like not like, I mean, I knew it, but it was like a painful reality that I dealt with in front of everybody. So, I really
I
appreciate
know.
the story. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm
I
telling you
know
that, but
that.
I just felt like, I appreciate that through all that. I mean, I still talk to everyone, actually. I have a good relationship with everyone, but I felt like I did a disservice because it was such a jarring experience. It was like a really hard job, not because of the community stuff, but because of the business of Impact Hub, not really the people in the space,
It
but they
was
had to
tough
deal with that
though.
repercussion, you know.
I feel like
I mean,
people weren't as nice to you as they could have been, to be
I
honest.
think people wanted something that I couldn't give them. Like there was I think there was if I had to speak earnestly about it, there was two core problems. One, I actually wasn't the right person for the job, not because I couldn't build community, but that wasn't those weren't my people in the
Yeah.
space.
And
And
it was
yeah,
really just the way they had things organized wasn't appropriate. And like I was sad to see that space go too because I really loved it there.
yeah.
But whatever, I'm growing. I love the new
Well, that's
office.
what it was.
It's
It was like,
fucking
yeah, the
awesome.
office, you have the office is beautiful. I mean, it was like, yeah, I mean, I felt bad because I was like, what people didn't understand was that they lived in a moment of heyday and Impact Hub just wasn't the same business when I came on board. So we couldn't sustain it. And then, like I said, it wasn't, you mentioned that whole idea of like, the way people talk to you, like the way people would just talk to me just from the
Yeah,
beginning. It was just like, this
I never
astounding.
liked
I
the
was
way
just like,
people. I never liked the
it
way
was,
people talk to you. I never liked the
yeah,
way people talk to you. I always thought I never liked the way people talk to you and the way people responded to the stuff that you were doing because I had the same experience when I worked in a nonprofit where it was always like I felt like the odd man out and I was in charge. Like
yeah,
I was supposed to be doing a bunch of stuff and people always wanted me to do stuff that I didn't really have the power to do and it also wasn't my job to do. And
right.
like I would have people complain about me all the time. So I know what it's like to be
Yeah,
to be in your shoes. So I always felt for you when you were at Impact Hub and just like seeing you go through all that because I went through so much. When I moved here,
yeah,
I knew nobody. Like I didn't have friends here until like 2 years after living here. And really
yeah,
my only friends even today are my friends at WebJunto, like my team. Like
yeah,
I still don't really know anybody, but I've kind of gotten to the point where like I don't really care. Like I'm trying to
yeah.
build friendships with like Yasmin
Yeah.
from Roar,
And
right? Like
Kim.
I've been hanging out with them and like me, Morgan, Yasmin, and Shanae, and